Here's the 1973 RCA color TV, and we're demonstrating some of the performance of the TV with various devices. And the first video, this is the second video in the series, the first video demonstrated local DTV reception. Now I'm going to demonstrate the VCR specifically. The VCR, again, is a Sony, and it is a SLV. Let me get it a little closer again here to show more of it. It's an SLV-595HF. Here's the VCR display, fairly full-featured, and it even has a volume level meter, which would be great for audio-only recording. I used to do that. I used to use a VCR to do a lot of audio recording, but unfortunately you'd end up getting dropouts in the tape, and it would go from the hi-fi audio, which is really high quality even at super long play speed, it'd go back to the analog linear audio, and it would just be like, it'd be pretty low quality. So I don't record audio on a VCR anymore, although it might not be a bad idea now that you can, even on a thrift store computer, get pretty good audio recording. I've really been using computers more for audio, but that audio meter would certainly be a help in that case for just audio only recording. There's the it's a little hard to see it here. I don't know what I could do to improve the lighting, but there's a control panel for the VCR. Kind of just flips out. I've got it flipped down now because of I've got those input jacks from the Nintendo hooked up to it. Here's the VCR, or the remote control for the VCR, and I was very lucky to find one of these, and I think it didn't even come with a VCR. I got it from somewhere else. But this is needed to access some of the features like the on-screen display. I'm going to turn on the data screen now, and it'll show this thing. And it had this display on here when I turned it on before I found the remote, which is pretty annoying. I didn't want that on there constantly. So I can turn that off with the data screen control. And it's got a lot of features on it. I think it can control 3 different VTRs. It's got a lot of programming features. I think it may even have VCR Plus built into it. There's a little, looks like there's a little infrared, there's a mark on here where somebody taped an infrared receiver, maybe from a VCR Rabbit or something, to it. I've got a pre-recorded tape in there now, so I'm going to press play, and let's see what the tape is. Because of that macro vision, this old TV
I know this move has probably been very sudden for
is,
all of you, and
I think the horizontal time constant is a lot like on tube type sets. It's got that macro vision bending at the top of the screen.
A television for your viewing.
I always like that that television set in Revenge of the Nerds. It's a Philco Predicta, and back at the time,
white television,
it wouldn't have really been a collector's item. It would have just been an old TV. I think they show it back here, right here.
Allergies. You can request a foam rubber pillow. Also, there's a television.
And they actually show it working later on in the movie, and this time, I think Revenge of the Nerds came out in 1984. It likely would have still been working on those original capacitors, but these things, there are actually some of these are retro electronics, but I never tried to work on them because they're an example of what would you say, function following form or something like that, where somebody designed this thing, and the engineering considerations of it took a back seat to the unusual styling of it.
Pleasure. It is a black and white television. More good news. Because of the housing situation, we are allowing the freshman class to join and live in fraternities. All right.
So you can, all the features of it work pretty good. But this particular TV, I think when VCRs came out and began to be more popular, I think they did something to the horizontal time constant to get rid of that waving at the top of the screen. But usually on solid state sets it's better than the tube sets, but this one is so old that I think it's still got that long time constant. So there's the operation of the videotape in the VCR. And in the next installment of this video series, we're going to demonstrate Nintendo performance. We've got Nintendo 64 and NES and Super Nintendo. So I'm going to start then in the next video with the Nintendo 64.